filter. Here's the things you'll need. You can always pause the video to stop and see what the text says for all the information. Here I'm taking off my first fairing. I'm using an Allen key to unscrew it. You really got to get your fingernails in behind it and hear some pops and clicks for the fairing to be able to come off like so. Here I'm using the socket wrench to loosen up the screws, take them off in order to take more of the fairing pieces off my bike. I'm using the Allen key in my hand to loosen this screw underneath the handlebars. Be aware there are some black pop-out screws under some of the fairings. You'll have to use your fingernail or a pen to pop off, like this one. Using the socket wrench again, take off some more fairings next to the petrol tank. Voila, there it is. Using my Phillips head screwdriver to take off the fairings that are located next to the front tyre. And here we're disconnecting the indicator lights, where we can then unhook the indicator lights from underneath the fairing located next to the front wheel, and then we can further take off that fairing. So to take off this major fairing, you've got to push quite forcibly forward and then out in order for it to come off. And now my sport bike has turned into a naked bike. Magic. Always make sure you warm up your oil before changing it. By doing that, it gets hot, the oil is less viscous, and so it flows better. We're going to put the tray under the oil chamber so we can then let it spurt out. Going to undo it and loosen it with your hand. Make sure you're wearing gloves, being safe. You don't want oil spilling everywhere like I seem to have managed, although my hands didn't get any on it because I had gloves. Then we're going to take out the old oil filter by twisting it in a clockwise motion and disposing of it appropriately. Here you can see it. Then we're just going to get a clean rag or cloth or anything you have laying around, cleaning around the areas and screwing the oil chamber back, the oil chamber screw back on, and tightening it with the socket wrench or ratchet. So sometimes it gets a bit wobbly, the bike at this point, tightening, so make sure someone's on the other side, making sure it's stable. Here we're just going to unpack the new oil filter, take off the plastic, and line it with some oil on the rubber part of the oil filter face. It acts as a lubricant, and if it dries out and you don't put oil on it, it'll dry out and it'll be stuff. So I'd highly recommend this step. Make sure it lasts longer and is of high quality. Then we're just going to tighten it further with the ratchet, because sometimes tightening it with your hand isn't always the best. Now we're getting ready to fill up the new oil. So just putting on. Always check what type of oil you need by looking at your owner's manual. Mine recommended Yamaha Lube, but this was at my local auto shop, so it was an alternative. So make sure you start the bike, see if the oil level drops once you've filled it up. You may have to repeat this step a couple of times to get the right amount of oil in there. For me, I had to refill and take out some oil to make it the right level because my bike's down on my back wheel, and because my forks are lowered at the front, it was on an angle, so I had to work on it a little bit. But other than that, then just screw the cap back on and you're all finished. Hopefully see you in the next video.